Hey guys, it's Nathan from the Kentucky Cycling YouTube channel. Welcome to the next Zoom interview in the Kentucky Cycling Connection series. I'm happy to introduce my guest today, who is Denile Hill, who is the Kentucky Interscholastic Cycling League's, or KICL's, co-founder and league development chair. Denile, welcome.
Hi, thank you, Nathan.
So before we dive into questions about KICL, why don't we start by having you tell us a little bit about yourself, including how you got into cycling?
It's funny, the other day, Facebook has some really interesting little groups, and there's a group for the place I grew up in, Michigan. And somebody said, what's your very first memory of this great place we grew up in? I was like, oh, decorating my bike for the 4th of July parade. So I don't really remember a time not riding. I mean, I remember building my bike in my backyard with my dad, but as an adult, I got back into it through mountain biking in about 1993 or so. I started paddling in West Virginia, and all things snowball in West Virginia, and see if I'm mountain biking. And I bought a Mongoose mountain bike, and it just kind of spread from there. When I moved to Kentucky, I was looking for a job. I was in school at the time, and Pedal the Planet was hiring. So I fell backwards into the industry, which pushed me even further into cycling.
So what is it about mountain biking in particular that appeals to you more than other forms of cycling?
I love all kinds of riding. I really do. If it's got wheels, I probably want to ride it. When you're on a trail, you're deep in the woods, and I'm a woods girl. I like to be deep in there. It's the reason I like the Appalachian region, actually, because those mountains kind of hug you in. When I go out west, I'm exposed. It's a challenge in a different way. There's a different skill set. It's a whole body workout. It's a mental workout. It very much brings me to that place of mindfulness. You got to really focus on what you're doing, right? So that you stay upright. And then the other thing that I love about mountain biking, which is probably what we all like about cycling in general, is the community. I make new friends all the time.
That's great. Not unlike some other movers and shakers that are in the Kentucky mountain bike community, you're someone who appears to wear a lot of hats. And
Yeah.
so can you tell us about some of the other ways that you're involved in the Kentucky cycling mountain bike community beyond the work you do with KICL?
Sure. So I am the treasurer for Kimba Bluegrass, and I've been with them for 5 years. I will probably step off the board this year to make room for some new blood. So if you're out there listening, be aware, we always need new board members. I think we're going to form an advisory board, though, so we can all keep our hands in it, because we've acquired so much knowledge. And then I was for a long time a Trek Women's advocate. They have no longer having that program, but I'll probably still keep up that work. I'm also a mountain bike instructor. So after we leave here today, actually, I have a client. I'm going to go meet at Capitol View Park. We think the top is still dry, so we're going to do that. And then I also try to keep involved in supporting the other clubs or organizations that are happening, whether it be Broke Spoke or the Bluegrass Cycling Club, all the other Kimba chapters. I try to stay involved. And then we also have a Kentucky Mountain Bike. It's kind of a cycling leaders organization. It's very non-official, and so we try to stay connected.
Good deal. So turning our attention to KICL, if it's okay with you, I'd like to share my screen and bring up your website, since it appears to be chock full of information. So just kind of looking at the homepage, I'll say that you've got a fairly robust site with a lot of information. So I want to encourage folks who want to come out and check out all the detailed information that's out here. For the purposes of this interview, I thought we could focus on the three main themes that are actually presented here on the homepage of the site, which is an overview, really, or to learn a little bit more about the KICL, or Kentucky Interscholastic Cycling League, and as part of that, kind of really get some more information about NICA in general, and then get into more information about clubs and teams and coaching in the area.
Yeah.
Okay, good deal. Oh, and also want to make sure we learn more about the KICL team and then your events, including your 2021 inaugural season.
Yeah, we're excited.
For those who may not be familiar, can you tell us a little bit about NICA and the formation of the Kentucky Interscholastic Cycling League?
Sure. So NICA is our governing body, and they're the National Interscholastic Cycling Association. Gosh, there's 31 leagues in 30 states, because California has two, northern and southern. And NICA actually started, the roots of it started in 1998. It didn't become an official organization, I think, until 2008. So we're that much further into it. It is a organization. They wanted to provide not just racing opportunities for kids, but a youth development program, a skill development program. They've experienced 30 to 40% growth in terms of teams coming on or states coming on in the last 2 years. So the organization is just growing by leaps and bounds, and they're catching up with it. They've got really great structures in place. And I heard about them through Trek when I was involved with Trek. And I came back home from being at the mothership in Wisconsin up there at Trek headquarters, and I said to, I think, Troy Hearn, I said, "Hey Troy, do you know about this NICA thing?" And he goes, "Yeah, we've been trying to get that going for years." I'm like, "What do you mean?" And so he filled me in a little, and I got in touch with a guy named Steve Beckett, who is in Marshall County, Kentucky. And he had a team that had been racing in the Tennessee League for like, I think 5 or 6 years at that point. And what he told me is, "Hey, listen, NICA is set up so that if you have a state that has a league, any state that touches that league can become part of that league and race in it." So while we were getting our league up and running, formed a team here, we had some other teams, and we started all working under the Tennessee NICA banner together. So that's kind of how it started. And that was 2017. I went to a meeting. Vince Carmen was there, and it was in E-Town. And we talked about what we needed to do, next steps to get this bid together, because you have to put in a bid to become a NICA emerging league. So that's what we did. We put the bid in early 2017, and then we heard mid 2017 that we were accepted as a league. And part of that was really not just gathering resources and information, but also gathering pledges, getting the community around us throughout Kentucky to say, yes, we will support this moving forward. It helped that we already had teams that were racing in Tennessee. Kind of where it all started, in a small room in a bike shop in E-Town.
Cool. Can you say a little bit more about what it means to be an emerging league?
So NICA has some different levels of kind of your standing as a league. And as you establish yourself more and more, you kind of move through this rank system. So, and it really has more to do with numbers. How many kids do you have? And then that also has to do with, how much support you need from them and things like that. And believe it or not, these emerging leagues, we need more support coming up, right? And whether it's financial or NICA does they're our governing body, but they also provide us with all of our accounting. They provide us with, not just the rule book, but they train everybody. So all of our volunteers that come on that are assuming like roles within the league, they're going to train them. They give us the tools to train them. They trained us. So there's a lot to it. This is a really, really professional organization, and they're giving us all the tools we need to have a really great youth development cycling program here in Kentucky.
Sounds really great. Like, what are the ages of the kids who participate in KICL?
So if you're going to be on a team in our league, you have to be in 6th grade. You can be 10 years old, but you have to be in 6th grade. And you can be 19 years old and in 12th grade. So it is very strictly a middle school through high school age system. You can't be outside of those 6th grade or 12th grade, but you can be 10 or 19. So there's some clarification on that.
Just, can you tell me how many existing teams are there in the KICL today and in Kentucky, and where are they located?
So we have teams in Marshall County is our biggest team. They have like almost 200 riders. We have a team here in Fayette County. That's our Fayette County composite team. We are much smaller. We have usually about 16 riders. Then there is Bluegrass Firms. That is a team that is in Versailles, but they also ride in Frankfurt as well in terms of practice. And then there is a team in Winchester, and then we have a team in Louisville. We have more teams forming. They aren't official yet. So, if anybody wants to form a team, now it's the time. Right.
So if someone wanted to start a club or a team in their school or community, talk to me a little bit about that process.
So ideally, these should all be school-based teams. As I mentioned, I have a team here in Fayette County. We are what is called a composite team. And composite teams can only exist for a couple of seasons. And the reason for this is, we don't want you to go out and find all the best riders in your area and then pack your team with them. Because really, we're not about, there is a racing component, but that's really not what we're about. I say that cautiously because I want you to know that we do have kids that are very serious racers, and we do take that seriously. Kate Courtney, she was a NICA racer. Steve Beckett, his son, raced all through college. I mean, these are people that go on to become professional racers, and they start with NICA. So you can take these routes into college cycling and even professional cycling through NICA. But our experience is a lot, it's fun. That's our first value, is fun. So racing is in there, and what we find happens is people that want to race seriously and their children want that experience find each other through NICA.
Yeah.
And then we just also teamed up with USAC this year so that our points will count in their series too. So it's helping these kids that really are interested in racing. All that being said, if you want to start a team, it's great if you can start it at your school. And we have an entire information packet on how you do that. The really important thing, and this is what I tell people that want to start a team in their school, you have to have a school club sponsor, but that person does not have to coach. Those teachers are so overwhelmed anyway. And so we make it really easy to start this club. The other thing is these teams, there's no tryouts, there's no bench warmers. Boys and girls ride together. It is just an all-inclusive kind of situation. Practices are obviously worked around different ages or skill levels, but everybody comes together as a team. You can start a composite team where you just call up your friends and you say, hey, my kids like riding, your kids like riding, let's start a team. You only need 2 kids and 2 coaches to start a team. Now, if you want to start a school-based team, you only need 2 kids and 2 coaches. You can have independent riders. So let's say your child, there's a school team near you, but your child is homeschooled. You can register your student with that team as an independent rider. So there are really 3 ways forward. There's an independent rider, composite teams, and school-based. And ideally, we will be school-based.
So if optimally, you're kind of trying to form these school teams, but you're recognizing that that may not have, you may just have, 1 or 2 kids, and there may be some other peripheral kids over here who, don't have a coach yet or whatnot. And so they can participate for a while in this composite type, format. But the ultimate goal is really kind of to try to then get a team maybe started at their school or another school, build the league, so to speak.
That's right. You really want to, because again, having the school leagues gives it, it gives it a little more teeth to the program, right? Because now, for instance, I don't have recognition ceremonies and these kinds of things, but when Marshall County, when they do their pep rally at the beginning of the year, all those kids come out along with like the other teams. Right, along with like official school teams. And the thing is, this really gives those kids that want to have that pride, that community, and have it also be part of that school experience. But they're just that traditional sports thing just doesn't jive with them. So this is an opportunity to create that within schools. It's also, and this is really important, so I hope anybody listening that will take this forward to the people if you have non-traditional schools, for instance, we've been talking about trying to get a league here at the Learning Center in Kentucky, schools that do not have teams at all, they don't have sports teams. This is a really great way to do that. It really is, and it gives these kids, that experience you want. That's part of the reason that NICA exists, is because there's so much more that comes along with being a member of a team, with having those experiences.
Okay. And then the composite teams have a certain shelf life, like they can, so how long can a team be a composite team before it has to become a school team?
It is up to the discretion of the league director. So the NICA rule book says 2 years. but I will tell you that they leave a small piece of discretion in there because they don't want to kill off good momentum. And we know that sometimes in communities like Lexington, even though we have a lot of people, there are 5 high schools and countless middle schools and how many private schools. Mm-hmm. And so just bringing a program into the area and making people aware of it is really step one. You know, with Steve's team in Marshall County, there's just one high school, right? And so it's easy. You go like, hey, we're going to do this.
They've got one high school with 200 riders.
They have middle school and high school.
Wow.
And yes,
but still, that's incredible.
Yeah, well, it started with him. Steve's son was riding, Carson was riding, and he had a couple of buddies he rode with, and they started the team that way. And Steve thought they would just have like a couple of kids, and they ended up with 25 or 30 kids or something like that the first year. And the school has really embraced it. They have a booster club. This booster club at Marshall County High School raises all the money, so none of these kids pay fees at all. Wow. None of the parents pay for their kids to ride.
Wow.
Yeah, then boy, that's like the dream.
So this third theme right here on the homepage is coaching. And you make this point, it says skilled and dedicated coaches are the most important aspect of the Kentucky Interscholastic Cycling League mountain bike team. So talk to me about the qualities of a good coach and how someone who is interested in serving this capacity might go about getting started.
This is easy to start. All you need to do is, and I'll give you all of our contact info, is either let somebody that you know that's already a coach of a team know that you want to coach for their team or you want to start your own team, or please contact us and we will get you going. You do not have to know how to mountain bike to be a coach. I know that sounds crazy, but we teach you everything you need to know. And the thing that is most important is we want to teach our kids to take those risks, to step outside of their comfort zones, to understand what failure tolerance is, right? That's a really important thing. These are things we don't teach in school. We should be, but we don't. So we have an opportunity here. So I encourage parents or community members, even if you're like, I'm not a good mountain biker, I've never been, let's do this. And you're in a community of people that want you to do this, right? You're not going to get poo-pooed for showing up and you don't know what you're doing. Like, we're going to teach you and you're going to take it as far as you want, or you're going to rein it in where you want. So we have coming up April 24th and 25th at Kentucky Dam Village, which is on the other side of the state, but it's beautiful, our Leaders Summit. And our Leaders Summit is a weekend where we bring in all of our coaches and all of our league leadership, and we have guests from NICA that come in, and then all of our new coaches, or maybe want to start a team, or maybe want to be a coaches. They come together and you get all of your information. We do training there. So that's a great place to start. Now, not everybody can start there because, you know, it's a busy weekend or whatever, but that is a really great place to start. I was trying to figure out how to get a team started, couldn't really figure it out. So I just went to the league summit in Tennessee and asked all my questions there and then started my team. So that's a great way to do it, or just to contact Steve and I, and we'll get you going. Our coaches, by the way, our coaches registration is open now. So if you contact us, we will send you an invite to register in our coaching area, and you can start your online training. So we have online training, and it is significant. So I always tell my coaches, be aware, it's going to be a couple of hours of computer digital work. There's tests that you have to pass and classes you have to take, concussion training, things like that. There's a lot to it. There's a background check that you have to go through, and then there's on the bike training. So our coaches really give a lot of themselves. Really, it's their time, it's their expertise. And again, the expertise doesn't have to come on a bike. You might just be a really good human that is really great with kids and others, and that's, you know, has its own benefits. So getting started as a coach is as easy as contacting us or letting somebody you know that already has a team know that you want to get involved. And then after that, we have to get you registered as a coach, and then you have to do your online training, and then you've got to do your on the bike training.
So talk to me about how we go about contacting you guys.
They can contact us by emailing info@KentuckyMTB.org.
Great.
That's going to get Steve or I. You're going to get one of us.
Very good. And then I'm sure that at that point you can, dig in with them about the details, right?
That's right. And the other thing we can do, and we've been doing this, we usually do this live. We do these dirt tours where we talk to communities and they say, come on out, we want to know more about your league and how we can get a team started in our area. And we show up with tents and we go out there and talk. But we can't do that right now. So we actually are doing virtual dirt tours. So if somebody wants to have a virtual dirt tour, we do it in a Zoom setting and we give you everything. We answer all of your questions.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Somebody was, interested in kind of following the progress or what, what's going on out there. Do you guys have like a social media presence in terms of like covering races or things like that?
We do. We have a Facebook page and then we have a Instagram page. So it's at Kentucky MTB.
Okay. I see. And down here at the bottom here. So there's that Facebook page. Look at there, all kinds of cool information. And then Instagram for people on the gram, as the young folks say.
Yeah. And I will tell you, those of us oldies, if you need links to things, don't go to Instagram, just go to Facebook. Otherwise, you get the bio and it can be a whole situation.
Yeah. So if you're really seeking information outside of the website or wanting a more kind of see what's going on right now, maybe Facebook is the best place with it. Is that fair?
Yeah. The other thing is please go to our website, which is KentuckyMTB.org, and sign up for a newsletter. So we have a couple of newsletters. We have a monthly newsletter that goes out. It's got everything in it. And then if you become a coach, we have a separate newsletter that you'll also receive that has all the information in it. And that is really the best thing you can do is sign up for that newsletter.
Good deal. My understanding is that you guys are a completely volunteer organization. And that says a lot. I mean, this sounds like there's a tremendous amount of structure. Obviously, a lot of hours go into this. So I want to, make sure that we recognize those folks who are doing this important work. So if you could just walk me through this page and talk a little bit about your management team.
Sure. So Steve Beckett is our league director. He and I co-founded the league along with our board, and Steve has so much experience with Tennessee. He was already a coach supporter for them. A coach supporter is somebody that trains coaches. So he really is just our go-to guy. He knows so much. And then I came on, and he's kind of been, we're kind of partners in this event and getting this thing up and running, because I had some other skills that I brought on board that really complemented his. So together we kind of are heading the league. And then we have David Haynes, and David is a real asset. He's in Elizabethtown. David actually, I forgot his team, Hardin County, that's 6 teams. David has a team in Hardin County, and he has a lot of experience. He's retired military, and he has really been helping us with the development end of things.
Yeah, and David's a great guy. So I'll say, make sure you check out. He's also the chief trail steward at Buffalo Lake. So make sure you check out the Trail Gnome Tour video of that as well.
And then we have Ralph Jennings, and Ralph Jennings is our treasurer. And Ralph has been around. He's been Steve's right-hand man with the Marshall County team for a long time. His daughter Presley is a racer and a rider. She's 16. She's also a grit ambassador for us, and we can talk about what grit is in a few minutes. And so Ralph brings a lot of strength to our team. And I cannot tell you how many times I will just text Ralph something, and he's always there. And he's helping with the marketing. He's doing the treasury stuff. He's helping with race stuff. He's kind of an all-rounder. And then Jennifer Hester is in Louisville, and Jennifer is with Revo Devo up there, and she's a teacher. She's also going to be a coach supporter for us. So these people are all board members, but they're also doing all this other stuff too. So, and then Troy Hearn, I think if you're listening to this show, you probably know who Troy is. Troy brings so much experience. He is. So he's going to oversee our race venues for us. He's really helped us with getting those places together and getting the information, because we have to vet all of our venues. We just did that in October. It was a 3-day trip around Kentucky of riding different venues and that. So Troy has really been instrumental in so many ways, but especially with those venues. Vanessa Boyette is our GRIT coordinator. It's Girls Riding Together. And she is a board member too, and then she oversees our GRIT programming for our girls and our female coaches. And then Vince Carmen sits on our board. And again, many of you probably know Vince. He's got his hand in everything. He's also one of our bike commissioners for the state of Kentucky. So Vince oversees our Teen Trail Corps. It's a program that our coaches and riders actually have to get hours in working on trail. So it's a really cool program. So Vince oversees that for us. And then Carson Beckett is Steve's son, and he's our league supporter. We like to go and find riders that have moved through NICA, that have taken that experience a little further. And so Carson, if you read our newsletter, it's not just for the kids. So Carson in our newsletter has like skills stuff that he does. And so he really just helps us in any way he can. Whether it's going to be showing up at races, so the kids can meet him, or, providing the information we need for newsletters. He's been great.
Good deal. So you mentioned GRIT a couple of times in there. So talk to me about GRIT.
Sure. So we have 5 values within our league, and these are NICA values that we as a league also have. And those values are fun is our very first value. And then we have inclusivity, equity, respect, and community. Those are our 5 core values. And part of creating inclusivity and equity was to address the really lack of women that we had within our organization, whether it was leadership or it was coaching or riders. So creating some equity for them is really important. And that's what GRIT does. It's Girls Riding Together. And so we host special events. We have a GRIT tent at races or events where female identifying riders and coaches can come and maybe learn something or just have a little bit of community. And again, we do have special programs that we're going to run throughout the season for these folks. I always like to address what equity looks like. And equity is about giving people the tools they need to rise up and to be at that same level as those that already kind of have naturally that access to whatever it is. So one of the things that we did was Vanessa and I wrote a grant through RAFA. So we always, RAFA is one of our national sponsors, and they gave us money to host what we're calling a Grit to Know Your Bike clinic. And we're going to do that at Life Adventure Center in Versailles on June 5th and 6th, I think. And we are hosting a 2-day clinic where female riders and coaches are going to come and they're going to get their hands dirty. They're going to work on bikes for 2 days. And we thought that was a really great way to build that equity and to help people feel like they belong and to strengthen their efficacy. So GRIT is really about getting, again, female identifying riders and coaches together, whether it's to ride or to learn or to just socialize.
That's great. That's great. And I know we've got, at least in Central Kentucky, and I'm sure it's true throughout, the rest of the state as well, we've got some really great, strong, women mountain bikers who are, great role models and potential, mentors for these folks. So that's really good. So tell me about your events, including your 2021 KICL inaugural season.
Yes, so this is our inaugural season. This is the big year. This is the very first one. So we have several events coming up. The Leaders Summit will be our first. And then in August, I think it's the weekend of the 23rd, we're going to do a prologue. And we don't have that venue yet because that kind of just got thrown at us that we're doing prologue. So we will announce that venue very soon. And we know that we have other races. So we are going to be kicking off our season at Capitol View Park in September with a race. And then we have another race in September at Buffalo which is David Haynes' trail system. And then we will be back here in Lexington in October at Veterans Park for a race, which I'm really excited about because that's my home trail. And our final race will be at Kentucky Dam Village, which is Steve's home. But the interesting thing about that is Steve built that trail over there, and it's called the Bo Beckett Memorial Trail. And I thought he named it after his dad. I was like, oh, that's very kind. And it turns out the community named it after his father, which is really cool. So we have really deep personal ties to these venues. But the other thing about these venues is they had to go through a process where we went out as a team with our venue surveyors. And it's complicated, and I'm not going to explain it here. But so if you're listening, you're like, well, why isn't it here? Why isn't it there? There are reasons that we went with those this year. We will be searching out other venues in the future as, you know, our league grows and for next year, because we don't want to go to the same places every year. We want to give opportunity for like, you know, more experience, and also for other trail systems to really experience that influx of you know, fun and economy that comes when a bunch of, you know, families come in with their kids and they stay and they eat and they ride. So we're going to really, you know, look across Kentucky. And then the other thing that we have planned is we have an adventure weekend. It is the very last thing we're going to do. It's going to be in November at Pulaski County. And an adventure weekend is a little different than a race weekend because there's no competition. We just go and, you know, provide some programming. Yeah, we do.
Yeah, well, that's a great place to do it. So that's really cool. So I know that there's a lot of money that goes into this, and so looks like there's a number of league sponsors here. So I just wanted to give you an opportunity to, you know, kind of talk about sponsorship and that role in things.
It is a lot of money to get these leagues started. And we've had some really great people step forward. Johnny Dyke, who is on our advisory board from DC Electric, he was our initial sponsor. He was the very first person that came on. His granddaughter races and rides. And he said, I really want to help you all out. I believe in what you're doing here. And then we have had other sponsors step up. Booz Allen was a organization, one of our board members. David Haynes works for them. That was a corporate match. So that was a really great way to do that. And then we have Kentucky Lake, they're sponsoring in kind, right, by providing discount and then also providing some other stuff we need for our Leaders Summit. Crankworks and Commonwealth Eye Surgery team is changing hands, but as they changed hands, they wanted to help sponsor what we were doing. So they came on board and did that. And we have some other sponsors that aren't up here yet. Marshall County team is actually a sponsor. That team gave money to the league. Yeah. And then we have a couple of we have some bike stores coming on board with us, which we're really excited about, but we're not done with that yet, so I can't announce them yet. Kimba Bluegrass, they're one of our sponsors. They have come on board. They're helping us with some in-kind stuff. You know, they've helped us in, I can't tell you how many ways Kimba Bluegrass has helped us, and their support's been pretty incredible. So these are league sponsors, and we have more coming on. We have to purchase about $20,000 worth of equipment right now for these races and these events. And so we are in the process of, you know, still getting money to do that, or still finding sponsors that say like, hey, we want to provide this equipment for you. So we're going to give you the money to do this thing, rather than just a general donation. And like, for instance, one of the things we have to get is we have to find a 28-foot enclosed trailer that somebody is willing to give to our league, because we have to own it for insurance purposes, right? And we want to have it wrapped, like big logo. So we have to have our, you know, obviously our team logo and the national logo. But then it's like, well, let's put this logo, whoever buys this trailer for us, just stick it all over there, and it's going to cruise all over Kentucky season after season. It is pretty much all encompassing. Now we have worked really hard to, again, find in-kind sponsors or, you know, other donors to help, but we still have to get donors. And I tell people it's $5 goes a long way. If everybody donated $5, we would have been done raising money, you know, some time ago. But I kind of want to provide a better financial picture than that. Trek Bicycles comes on, and Trek will give us $15,000. our first year, and then $10,000 our second year. That money is not, you don't get that money till the end of the season. So we will be able to recoup and then have for next year moving forward. We'll also be generating a revenue stream to sustain us. We are a nonprofit, but we will have that stream to sustain us from coach fees, rider fees, races, things like that. So there will be some money coming in to help do that. And then we have worked very hard to write grants. So there is a lot going on, as anybody in a nonprofit knows, to get us where we need to go. So if people want to donate, if they want to be a sponsor, it's a great time to talk about that. The one more thing I want to tell you is we have something called Flow Zone founding members. And we, as a board, decided that any sponsor or donor or team that came on this year would be part of our Flow Zone experience. And those people will forever and ever and ever and ever be listed as Flow Zone founding members. So while their logo may not be up there every year, they're going to always be listed. We're going to put a place on our website for them. They'll be listed alphabetically. And then we're also having a big vertical banner made for our race to put in our Flow Zone tent. So when you walk up, you're going to see those people that came that first year and said, we believe in this. Let's get this up and going. We really want these kids riding. So that is something that you join this year, you get in addition to whatever your sponsorship is.
Really cool. Is there anything that I haven't already asked you about that you'd want to share with the Kentucky cycling audience?
Well, one of the things I wanted to talk about was to let people kind of know a little bit more about the organization itself and really why we're here. Because that's the most important thing. Is, we've gone through, our board has gone through an onboarding process that's been over a year long, just to bring us up to speed with everything we need to know and to create a really good experience. And we're still doing it. We are still looking for league volunteers. Everything from people that will come in and do our timing for us. We have a timing system, but we need, somebody that's going to come in and be we've even got somebody that's our volunteers to be our, oversee our rule book. So if we need to go to them, they're going to be there, right? So we still have positions open. So we really need volunteers. The interesting thing about it is you can be just a race day volunteer. You're just going to show up for the races and help be a course setter, or maybe you're going to be a course marshal. NICA races are really fun. I don't have young kids. And the first NICA race I went to as a coach, I was blown away. It was so much fun. It is a lot of work, but it is so much fun. There's, if you've ever been to a bike race, it's really fun. It's full of fans. If you come to a NICA race, it's full of family that are fans. So everybody's there. All the kids are there. There's dogs there on a leash. There's grandparents there. It's just the coolest thing. And so you don't have to have make a big commitment of your time to be part of our organization, even at a league level. We really need those volunteers that will show up on race day and be there to, do what needs to be done. So, and we provide all the training. And if you want to be a little more involved, please, let's get you involved, because we want people to come on and do what they're comfortable doing. We don't want to ask more of anybody than they want to give. And in fact, we want to limit what you're doing so you can do it and do it really well.
Good deal. So if they were interested in doing that, should they also reach out via that info@KentuckyMTB.org email address? Great. Yes. Well, Denile, I want to thank you again for being a guest in the Kentucky Cycling Connection series and talking to us about the work of Kentucky Interscholastic Cycling League. It's really cool to learn about these developments, and I want to encourage folks to get involved. There's sounds like really great things. A lot of work that's gone into getting you guys to this position, but it sounds like there's a really bright future for mountain biking for our youth here in Kentucky.
There is, and I'm so excited for this year. I also want to say, so my local team here, Fayette County Composite, the Bluegrass Cycling Club, they're a road club. They actually are sponsoring our team this year, which is I have so much gratitude for that foresight. And so I don't want people to discount. This isn't just a mountain biking thing. Anybody can get involved. We want to get kids on bikes.
That's great. That's great. Well, thank you again.
Thank you so much, Nathan.
As always, we hope you found this content useful. If you did, please like the video and consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks.